It's the A Vision Media broadcast show once again. We're giving you guys another special legendary episode. This man is Breeze from the L.A Posse with the L.A Posse, my correction. This man here has a few hits, man, that everybody know of. Everybody loved this man. We have Breeze on the show. Like I said, A Vision Media broadcast once again. Breeze, what up, Breeze?
What's happening, baby?
Oh,
Glad to be here.
Oh man, it's a pleasure that you're here, man. I'm happy that you came onto the show, A Vision Media Broadcast. I've been trying to, like I said, connect with you for a while,
Okay.
and I sent you a few emails out there too. And I don't know if you got them or not, but I did.
Really?
Yeah, or a few DMs. I think it was a DMs. I
How
shot a
about
few out there.
like about 1,000
Yeah,
emails that I don't answer because
I'm, I,
I go through them all the time. May have been
yeah,
a DM, I don't know, but whatever the case may be, God don't make mistakes. So I might not come when you call, but I'm on time.
but you on time. You're right here. You know what I mean? I thank you, man, for that, man. I just, I know that I'm not sure if you born and raised in Cali. Can you tell me where are you originally from?
Well, I'm originally from New York. I was born in the Bronx.
Okay,
And I lived in the Bronx till I was young teenager, and then
okay,
I'm to Los Angeles,
hmm,
and that's where obviously in New York is where I developed a love for hip hop. I watched it from its inception,
okay,
um, even though I was a real little kid when it started. But
hmm,
it's crazy how certain circumstances do you because even though I was really into like hip hop, just like listening to like the cassettes and the jams and all that when I was in New
yeah.
York. I didn't get into hip hop until I got to the West Coast.
Oh, and when you got over to the West Coast, you really got into it at that time.
Yeah, because you know what? When I got here to California, Los Angeles, um, we kind of had just kind of like died out gang banging. Gang banging was kind of like a little fad at one point when I was like a young kid. I'm talking about like 10, 11, 12, 13, like around that age.
Okay,
And so when I got to California, it was kind of like dying out. Well, when I got to California, they was in full force. This shit was like gang bang central capital of the world,
wow,
and like so it's like not only that,
mhm,
but the music was different. I'm from Cold Crush for
that's right.
Fantastic Five, Busy Bee, all these people
Big, yeah,
all these releasing these records, and I'm hearing these people, and then I
yeah.
get to California, and the music is just totally different. They
It's
listen to
different, right? Yeah,
yeah, and they
yeah.
listening to like, Parliament, Funk that. And the only song I knew from Parliament and them was Flashlight. That's it.
Flashlight.
Yeah, I ain't know none of these funk songs, no nothing. So
Yeah,
it's crazy that once I got out here and experienced the artistic and the cultural change as far as my artistry
yeah,
uh, developing, that's when it really started to hit me, and I started to embrace more my New York
yeah.
ness to okay, now I'm gonna start rapping, now I'm gonna start doing this now because I wasn't really doing all that when I lived in New York.
Okay, okay. So in New York, you never even had no type of people start off with DJing or freestyling. You never did any of that while you was in New York.
Nah, when I was in New York, guys, you guys think I moved when I was like 13. I think I was like
Okay.
13, 14. But and by that time, like, you know what, it was like you was just saying other people's rhymes. I wasn't really taking me serious as far as
You
me,
just
rhyme.
everybody else rhymes.
I'm
Yeah,
just rhyming the tapes that I hear, and we all doing
yeah.
that, but I never thought of it. I never thought of it as me being an MC. I was just a fan of the music.
Okay, okay. Yeah. What made you move from New York to the West Coast?
Well, like anything, family, moms,
Transition.
moves, just up in time to move. Hey, got to move with moms. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
pretty much how that happened. And and quite, and on the real, it was a good thing because I mean, I always say to myself, if I would have stayed in New York, who knows where my life would have ended up? Who knows?
Wow. Okay.
Rapping, who knows if I would even still be here? Who knows, man? My whole choice is like the butterfly effect. You change one thing, it can change the
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's a blessing. Like now that I look at it now, is that I made it here.
Wow. Was what I think is interesting is that you moved to the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about the gangs, like gang banging. Were you ever did they ever try to force you into joining one of them gangs when you coming from New York to West Coast? How was that growing up over there in the West Coast?
Yo, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm one of the stories that the hood actually worked for. And what I
Right,
mean by that is because the hood don't normally work for nobody. The
yeah,
hood is there to um take whatever advantage, or you gain whatever advantage that you can get out of by being in that environment. And 9 times out of 10, it's not good.
yeah.
Um, so like when I was in it, and when I was there and I was a youngster,
Mhm.
okay, kind of gang banging kind of died out from where I was from. So you here and you hanging out with people. Eventually, you gonna
Right.
grab, you gonna get down
That's
with them.
right. That's right.
I ain't
That's
gonna
right.
lie. At one point,
That's
I'm
right.
like, "What's up?" I want in,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
at that point, I was rhyming. At that point, I started rhyming, and everybody knew me as that the nigga from New York that rap.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
But didn't know my name. They be like New York, the New York that rapping, the dude be rapping. So when I asked to get put on, it's crazy, man. I was about to get put on, and one of the OGs like stepped in.
Uh-huh.
He really said, he's like, "Yo, come here, man." And I was like, "What's up?" He was like, "Look, man, this ain't for you.
Wow.
This ain't for you." He's like, "Yo, most of these dudes around here, like on some real shit, might not be like verbatim, but basically he was telling me like most of these niggas
No.
ain't around ain't shit, and they ain't gonna be shit. Like you got a
Wow.
chance to
Wow.
do something, get wrapped up into this. Like, yo, you live over here, you ain't from the hood, but you in the hood. If you ever need help, we gonna be here, but
Mhm.
you don't need to take this route." So I actually got talked out of it by one of the OGs on
Wow.
the block. And I was like, that's when I said, that's when, a success story that came out the hood, that somebody actually saved
They,
somebody from
they saved you.
possibly throwing my life away.
Wow. They saved you, man, from getting
Yeah,
into that nonsense.
yeah.
Wow. And also coming up, who are your biggest influences in the music industry?
Well, my number one influence is my mother. I mean, I grew up, and my mother's a performer. She sang at like all the hot clubs in New York back in the day. Salt and Pepper, Copacabana, like any
Okay.
hot club that was out in New York in the '70s. My mother sang at, and I
Wow.
was like the kid that sometimes when you couldn't get a babysitter, I was the kid in the dressing room while my
Mhm.
mom went and did her little show. So that's where my number one influence came from. And
Okay.
then after that, just the normal, like, I grew up a Michael Jackson fan. Always loved James Brown music.
Yeah.
Um, and then when rap started, that kind of just like took over everything for me. And that was just my
Yeah.
life point. And my first favorite MC of all time was Grandmaster Caz of the Cold Crush 4. That's
Grandmaster
my
Caz. Yeah.
yeah.
What was he like your biggest hip hop artist who inspired you?
Um,
Caz?
as far as rapping, yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yo, funny story. Like, when I first started rapping in California, I ain't have no rap. So when I used to like, people thought I'm from New York, like you on battle niggas, right? So man, I had old tapes of Cold Crush 4. So
Yeah.
like I would battle niggas saying Grandmaster Caz rhymes. Cause I'm like, I know y'all niggas don't know. Like
That's
these are
right.
tapes
That's
that
right.
you're not gonna know. And a whole somebody, I remember at one battle, somebody was there, and as I was saying Kaz's raps, homie started saying them with me. And I was like, oh shit, like how do you know? Like
Wow.
when everybody, you a biter, you bit that rhyme, you a biter, like, and that was the moment that clicked that switch. I said, I'm gonna start writing raps. And I was like, I'm a madman, like at hours every day, locked in my room, just writing rhymes. But yeah, he was my first original influence to like, okay, I want to be dope like him. You know what I mean?
Wow, wow, that was dope. That was dope. And I know that you said you Grandmaster Cass was your was one of your influences right there, like inspirations.
Yeah.
But how did you connect with what was your introduction to the game and how did you connect with the LA Posse?
Well, I mean, how that happened was simple. There's a famous DJ party crew out here called Uncle Jam's Army. If you know anything about West Coast hip hop, Uncle Jam's
Okay.
Army was number one party promotion outfit that threw all the biggest parties, and not only that, but they had a hand in throwing a lot of concerts and also bringing hip hop to California. Like they was the ones that's doing the sports arena jams and having like 20,000 people like at a party type, and
Wow.
that. But they, was instrumental in bringing like Run DMC and them out shows and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So the head of the head of Uncle Jam's Army was a gentleman named Roger Clayton. He recently passed away, but he was the head of Uncle Jam's Army. And I was a kid that was going to high school. I had a friend.
Mhm.
He used to hear me rhyme. I used to battle people every day after school,
Okay.
kind of stuff. And my friend was like, "Yo, my sister's boyfriend makes music," and I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Yo, I'm gonna introduce you to." So I ended up meeting Daryl, who's Big Dad from L.A. Posse.
Yeah.
So he then called Muffler, and Muffler lived out like a little ways from us, and he was having a party like a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
And I ended up going out to the party, and I rhymed with him, rocked the crowd, and all that. So what we did was Muffler's relative is Roger Clayton, so he hooked up with Roger Clayton and said, "Yo, we got this kid. We're gonna produce him. Yo, can you help us get him on?"
Yeah.
And there was a old conference seminar that used to come out here called the BRE, the Black Radio
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Yeah. The BRE. Yep.
Yeah, and it used to be down in Universal City. So, everybody knew at that point you want to get on, you're gonna go to the BRE, you're gonna bring your box, you're gonna bring your cassette, you're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
and you gotta try and get into the lobby so you can get to these executives to play your music. So
Now, I'm sorry. These were big execs inside the BRE. Big execs,
oh yes, oh man,
right?
most definitely like program directors, and then and how my story started is Russell Simmons used to be there. Russell Simmons everybody knew Russell Simmons was going to
Yeah.
be. So
Yeah.
Roger had a little he had a connection with him, to as far as I can get him to listen to my tape, but not like
Okay. Okay.
on.
Not putting you on, but he can listen to. He can
Yeah,
listen.
he gonna listen. He gonna give me a shot. But
Yeah.
the crazy thing about that is at the BRE, it's like 100 niggas out there with a
Oh,
box.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we're literally in a line
Wow.
trying to wait as everybody walking up to him playing the music, and it was crazy. I was probably say if it was 100 people, I was like the 80 something person. And
Wow. Wow. Wow.
so
What-
that's my up. I just got in the line, nigga. I didn't get no guarantee. I ain't getting premium placement. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so sitting there watching for like a half an hour, we seen everyone in front of us, every last person in front of us get rejected. He would play their joint,
Wow. Get rejected.
and after like 2 minutes, minute 30 seconds, he'll stop your shit. Next.
Wow.
We
Wow.
throw the people tapes like, man, get this shit out of here. Like, and we like, damn. So like, then the crazy shit was when we got up to him, I played my joint, and it's crazy. Like he stopped it like in the middle of the first verse. No, stopped it after the first verse. This song I had called
What song was it? Yeah. Oh, Popcorn.
It's called Pop. It was on my deck. And it's
Okay.
like, back in the days when people used to say, I go on and on and on and
Yeah. Yeah.
like hot butter on you, what popcorn. That was like my hook, but I
Okay.
jazzed it up a little bit. So he played the first verse, and then he stopped it. I'm like, oh shit, he about to throw my tape.
Yeah.
And so, and then he hit rewind, and he played it again. We was like,
Wow.
oh,
Wow.
and then he listened to the whole song, and then he listened to right after that he stopped.
Mhm.
He was like, yo, who are y'all? Blah blah blah. And before I knew it, like within 2 weeks, I was on I was on a plane going to New York, and I was like getting signed to Def Jam.
Wow. Wow. Listen now. This is a very interesting story also. Now you walk into you walk into the office, right? Def Jam, right? Who led you in the office? Like who actually came and got you and brought you to Russell Simmons? Was it the guy you were just talking about, like Muffler, or?
No, when we got the invitation to go to New York, he
Yeah.
sent the ticket. So basically, it was me, Muff, and Big Dad on the plane going back to New York. I
Okay.
don't know who picked us up at the airport, but it wasn't no fly shit. It was Def Jam in the early days. It wasn't no money like that.
Yeah.
even though they have famous acts. But I remember, I don't know if you know this, he's a legend as well. Rapper's name is Jimmy Spicer.
Yeah, I know Jimmy Spicer. Yeah.
Uh, Jimmy
Oh,
Spicer,
yeah.
dudes that was like hanging out with us, making sure that we was okay. But the weird shit about it is, you got to think at that time, I'm like 16 years old. They're grown men, like
Yeah.
21,
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
They didn't have nowhere to go, but I had family. So when we went to New York, they slept in Def Jam offices, but I slept at my family house. And I offered them to come over, like, yo, y'all can come, but being
Yeah.
that and trying to do that, you ain't trying to depend on no shit like that. So they was just going rough it. So they slept up in Def Jam's offices
Office.
when we
Yeah.
first got.
Wow. So where did Jam Master Jay come in at? Did you ever meet Jam Master Jay?
Man, Jam Master Jay is responsible for naming us the L.A. Posse. Number one, Jam Master.
How that happened, man? You got to tell me how that happened.
Yeah, Jam Master Jay was a cool brother. I mean, he was just cool, period. It wasn't like you didn't have to be famous, you ain't have to be nothing. He was just cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he seen us in the studio because we used to all record at like Chunking House of Metal. So he seen us in the studio and he heard our music, and him, Run DMC, and a lot of them, they used to bump our music. They used to think that
Right.
I was dope.
Uh-huh.
So it was one of those, like, he was at the studio. He was like, yo, I'm gonna take y'all out. Like, and
Yeah.
start hanging out with Jay. He used to take us to Nels, take us to Union Square. Like, we went to like all these, the parties, but we was going with Jam Master Jay. So one day, like, he was taking us out and we was driving, I think we was driving down the West Side Highway. And he said, man, what they call y'all? He said, man, I know your name is woo woo woo. He said, but what they call y'all?
Yeah.
He's like, what you talking about? Like, Breeze, that's Big Dad. He's like, yeah, I understand your name, but what they call y'all?
What's the group name that they call y'all?
Like,
Uh-huh.
we was like, never even thought of that. And then, start throwing out names. I think the first one was like the L.A. Crew.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and then Jam Master Jay said, I know what I'm gonna call y'all, and that's when Posse was the big word. I'm gonna call y'all the L.A. Posse.
Posse.
And it stuck from that. We was like, L.A. Posse, word? Like, okay, boom. I guess from that point we was known as L.A. Posse. So he actually gave us that name.
Wow. Now since you Breeze, right? You solo artist, and the L.A. Posse, were they production beat makers, or did anyone else rap? Because I know you were solo artist, correct?
Yeah, but you know what? The one thing that I always try to stress the point to whenever I do speak on this subject. L.A. Posse is us first. It's
Okay.
me, it's Daryl, it's
And
Dwayne,
Moth. Yeah.
it's Muff, me, Muff, Daryl, Bobcat, DJ Pooh. It's us.
Okay.
But you know what people always wanted to do was say, well, he's the rapper. Well,
Okay.
check this out. There wouldn't be no L.A. Posse without the rapper, because
That's right.
the one that got us he did the demo that got us the deal to go to New York to springboard our career. So I
Yeah.
was one of the people, like, LA Posse is LA Posse. We
That's
all,
right.
there's no separation. It's just that a lot of us do different things. Well, I just
Yeah.
happen to rap and they
Uh-huh.
just happen to produce.
Okay. Okay. Well, it came together then. It's like y'all clicked because you
Yeah,
got the rhymes, they got the music, so it was on.
exactly.
It's on. So when you presented the song "Popcorn" to Russell Simmons,
Hmm.
what else did he say about the song, or anybody in the Def Jam office? Like, what did they say about that song?
I mean, that was just like, yo, that shit is dope. Like, it was
Okay.
just like,
Okay.
it's dope, it's refreshing, and they think they could do something with it, and we was just like, the brand new shiny toy. Whereas with anything, you walk in there with some established people, and
Yeah.
you still you gotta prove your point, and who are you, and like, okay, you got one song, okay, what else you got? And that's
Okay.
when it started, and that's when we were studio rats. But I mean, you also got to remember, I was only 16. My mom wasn't allowing me to quit school, so it's like the only time I could record, when I
Right.
was signed, I could record
Yeah.
uh, Christmas break, spring break,
Yeah.
summer break.
All the holidays, Easter, and all that. Now.
Yeah, those is the only times I could fly because my mom's wasn't having it. And so and how the production thing took off is, during my hiatus to where I had to go and I had to go
Yeah.
back to school, they were just sitting there. and just so happens LL Cool J was working on his second release, which is the I'm Bad album,
I'm bad, yeah.
the Big and Deffa album.
But
Rick Rubin didn't have the time to just solely work with him because Rick did most of the first one, so Rick wasn't there. So I mean, I think he did a song or two, or he didn't have the time. So LL was sitting around. So one of them got the bright idea and said, "Hey man, let's put them LA dudes up in the studio with LL and let's see what happens."
yeah,
And
wow,
the
wow. That's
history,
dope.
they ended up making Big and Deffer, and then they also made the next album after that, which was Walking with a Panther.
Well,
Yeah.
so the LA Posse actually produced LL's whole I'm Bad album.
Oh yeah, pretty much the whole thing. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And then they did Walking with a Panther after that. That's dope.
Yep.
That's dope.
Yep.
But they didn't
Mm.
think it was going to work. But they was trying something out, like an experiment type of thing.
Yeah, basically it was just like, let's see. I mean, those dudes are dope. I mean, the music they make with Breeze is dope. Let's see if that will translate to LL.
That was dope, man.
Yeah, and it
Wow,
worked.
it worked, man. So we're going to talk about Tyson, the young son of no one, the album, right?
Okay.
That album, you only released one album, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the LA Posse actually did the whole production. They did the production on the album, right?
Yes, sir.
What was the issue with only bringing out one album when you had a hot album for the your first debut?
I mean, it's just a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happened, and plus I was young,
Okay,
and when it came down to it, I didn't really have the proper, I'd say, guidance or
okay, yeah,
people
yeah.
in my corner to kind of steer me in the right direction.
Hmm.
And as with any thing where there's someone else doing the same as you kind of get a little competitive. So being at that time, you got to think I was on a label. I was on a label with DLC, Kwame,
Yeah, yeah.
Cool C. I
Hmm.
think Ike was on the label. So we had a nice little roster. So I mean, back then, labels wasn't into, as they still aren't into these days, about actually promoting their artists. Back in those days, it was like, okay, we got 3 rap records. We're going to throw all 3 out at the same time. Whichever one starts to gain traction is the one we're going to put money behind. And the other 2, y'all just going to be tax write-offs because we're not really going to put no money behind that.
Oh,
So basically, I kind of fell into that, like, kind of like, okay, we're not really pushing y'all. We pushing DOC. DOC album was big. I mean, plus it was NWA backed, and so all the like resources went towards him, and it like got difficult to like even like survive as an artist. And a lot of shit that I was doing, even when I was going on tours and stuff, I was paying out my pocket. Even radio play that we was happened to get, they didn't really help us with radio play. We paid and got a radio promoter to get us on these stations and stuff like that. We
wow,
had
wow.
so after a while, that shit starts to wear on you, and
Yeah.
and at that point, I had other labels hollering at me like, "Damn, I don't know what they doing over there at Atlantic, but if you was here, oh, if you was
It'd be different, right? That's what they say.
yeah." Yeah, so I had the bright idea to say, well, fuck it, let me see if I can strong on my way up out of my, situation.
Yeah.
And I kind of did. I didn't really strong on nothing, but I mean, I asked for a release, and they gave me a release, and then what they decided to do after they gave me that release was to ensure that I didn't get picked up anyplace else.
Oh, wow. So they put like a restriction on your contract or whatever.
Well, they kind of call it like blackballing,
They
or
blackballed you.
yeah, pretty much.
What? I just want to know how long does a blackball last? Like if they, because I know you was young around that time, so they try to keep you locked in.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think of it like this, man. After constantly getting doors shut in your face, I mean, this is still the 90s. This is not like internet era, streaming, Spotify. It's not that era yet. So it's still like you still got to go through gatekeepers and stuff like that to get your shit on. You got to go. This is the old fashioned way. So when you think about it, and you look about it, and when you think about it, yeah, I'm trying to get on for years. It's not working. Doors keep getting slammed. And my first day open, and then all of a sudden, right after they open, a week later, they
They
slam
close.
shut. It's like, wait, something's going on. So after doing that for a while, you kind of get discouraged doing shit like that. So what I did was I left it alone. and I didn't do anything, and I just started writing for people that was coming out on the scene. You know, I wrote for a few people, and I just did it that way. And then, like in 19, what I think it was 1990, maybe like six, somewhere around there. Maybe like a little early. I did like a little independent project on my own, which at that time, you know, at that time it wasn't. It was what it was. I did a little something, and then you know after
Yeah,
that, you know, you start getting kind of like frustrated with the business side of this. And you know what I just ended up doing, I was like, you know what, fuck that. I just went back to writing here and there,
yeah.
and I kinda just left the whole shit alone. Like I'm good on this right now. But I will tell you, 2013 came around, and then my boy Bobcat, I,
That's LL DJ, right? No, that's LL.
that's one of LL's DJ, and you know,
Okay.
find that he was originally my DJ, but
Oh,
because you know when I was on Def Jam, because I was there for 3 years and I never got anything put out, and you know that's a whole nother story as well, because it's like, you know, I was competition for like, not like that, but I'm a solo male artist just like LL, so it was like LL was gonna get all the shine. So as I'm recording, doing all these records, and wondering why ain't shit coming out,
yeah,
you fuck, L just asked Bob if he wanted to DJ for him. Since he's doing shit, and you know, Bob is a stand-up dude. He came to me and he was like, "Yo, man, if you don't want me to do this, I'll just stick with you. Don't, you know, boom, we'll just thug it out." And I just told him, we see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? That man's working. He offering you money. You offering you bread. You a young and hungry upcoming DJ, just like I'm as far as the rap. You've been doing it as long as me. And if you got a shot right now, take that shot. You
that's
know,
right.
take that
That's right.
shot right. You don't know where that's going to lead you. And he was like, yeah, well, don't worry. If you ever need me, I'm here, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. And that's how he ended up being LL Cool J's DJ.
Wow. See, I was going to ask you, how was you and LL relationship? You know, that whole ride, that whole, you know, that whole wave.
You know, it's just like, you know, if you put two young bulls in any arena, like around, you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get like standoffishness, and you know
mhm,
that, you know, and you know what the crazy shit is, when we first all started hanging out, like the craziest story is like we all used to, you know, bag on each other, snap on each other, whatever you want to call
yeah,
it.
yeah,
We're all like bagging on each other there at our apartment in Brooklyn, and LL was there. And I was hot that night. Like I was super hot. Like, and I was getting everybody. And then I remember, you know, LL looks at me and he says, he's like, yeah, damn, you funny as hell. You funny as hell, but can you rap, nigga? What's up with them lyrics? And I'm like, you got a mind, like I'm 16. I got this nigga poster on my wall back at my house. If he was to go back to my house and open
yeah.
my nigga, his pictures on my wall. And
Wow.
I'm 16, 17, and it's crazy. So basically, he kind of like challenged me, and I froze for a second, and then my man Bobcat was like, Bobcat took me aside. He's like, yo, if you don't get your ass out there and battle nigga right, we not friends no more. Fuck you. Don't call me. Now I'll never want to hear from you again. Like that type, right? So I'm like,
Wow.
boom. So, you know, then we went out in the living room. And mind you, all before this, our relationship was contentious. He's, you know, he's cocky. I'm cocky.
Yeah,
We
that's why cocky. You know.
So
Mhm.
then, like, you know, we go in. Now we're not really battling each other, but we rhyming. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna rhyme about myself. He said a rhyme about himself. I'm gonna rhyme about a girl. He said one about a girl. He said this. We went back like 3 or 4 rounds back and forth. And
Wow. Wow.
after
Wow.
that day, um, we actually became friends for a day.
Just one day.
Yeah. He took me downstairs, showed me his little Audi, little red Audi he had with the bulletproof windows and the remote control car stereo. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
house, sat there on the corner, sipped 40, boom, all friends, pounds, all that. All right, you good, you good. And the next day after that was right back to normal.
Wow. So it's like that was just a little moment y'all had that day, and that was it.
A
You know.
moment. That's it.
Wow, man. Yeah, it's dope for LL Ben. He kind of lived at Def Jam for years, man. You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
lived there. But the
yeah.
good thing about it was you was around some heavy hitters, man. You know, I know you still are, but even when you while you were young, you was around some great people, man. You know.
Yeah. I got the chance to be around, come on, LL, Run DMC,
Yeah. Cool.
Boys,
Yeah.
Houdini,
Mhm.
I mean, and I used to see all these dudes on a regular basis because Chung King was like one of the spots where everybody came to record.
Yeah, yeah, Chung King, and
Oh,
that's up in New York, right?
huh?
That's in New
Yeah,
York, right?
Chinatown in New York.
Wow, can we talk about the story with you and Ice T? I know it wasn't a battle, but was it almost a battle getting ready to jump off with you and Ice T?
Damn, man, where you getting your new? How you where you digging this?
Yeah, man, I do my homework, man.
I see. Okay. Um, something like that, man. Well, you know what? Before we even move further, let me let y'all know, man. Ice, my man. Ice is
There
a
you
man.
go.
Ice is my OG
Shout
crew.
out to Ice T.
Shout out to EC. Come
That's
on, man.
right.
One of the best to ever play this game called business. Because
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
it, there's that word behind music, music business, and he's played this game very well. And how it happened is like we was just at like it was a little club back in the day, Sherman Square roller rink, where go roller skate and play mixing DJs, and sometimes people would come up and rap.
yeah.
So one day, Ice T came up there and he was doing his little thing. Whoever want to rap, y'all, line up on the side of the DJ booth, whatever, blah blah blah. So we all lining up, So it was I ain't gonna lie, it was a couple of terrible people that went before me, and like by the time I got ready to get the mic, I guess Ice had heard so many whack rappers
Yeah.
grab the mic. He said, all right, this is done for the day. He said, I got some advice for anybody else over here who think they want to rap or think they can rap. And then he looked me straight in my face and he said, go make a record. And
Wow.
I was like, yo, for real, like he kind of like dissed me, hurt my feelings. Like, nigga, you ain't heard me. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
hurt. So I ain't gonna lie, man. I went home that day. I think I wrote 3 raps specifically battling
But
Ice T. And
yeah.
like years I was hunting Ice T down, like to meet him someplace because I wanted to battle Ice T on the mic.
Yeah, you had something to prove. It was on then.
Oh yeah, but then as years fade, and then I started to get in the business, and he started to hear about me, and I started hanging around with King T, and King T was really good friends with him, and then we ended up meeting, and I hit it off instantly with Ice, man. That's a good brother.
Okay, okay. And you are friends with King T, like, cause you have a few songs with T, right?
Yeah, I was on like I think I was on three or four of his albums that he had. I
Yeah,
always on one of them from the beginning.
yeah. I think I don't know if it was play like a piano. I don't think was it that or play at your own risk. No, that's the album, right?
Yeah, Play Like a Piano was the song with me, him, and Ice Cube.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, man. It's dope. I'm glad I got a chance to sit down and talk to you, man. You know how in today's the rap. I don't wanna. It's not hip hop. I say rap. The rappers today, most of them. You know how they show you money. They got all this money. They want to show you. Some want to show you all these cars and so forth and so on. They want to show that they getting it, but they
yeah,
really don't. They really don't have no skills like that. But they
yeah,
show you the fortune side.
yeah.
Now, for you, besides money, what do you like most about the industry, the music industry?
Um, you know what? To address your first point about they're showing this money. I mean the game has kind of changed right now, and you know what? I never want to be like one of those who and I'm not saying that you are, but I never want to like make light or make little of what these youngsters is doing because I mean, you know what? I look at it like this, man. They progress in the game. It may not be the same game that I played. It might
Yeah,
not necessarily be the game that I necessarily like to watch.
yeah,
But there's some things that I love about it. And what I had to do first and foremost is, I had to take my expectations out what their
out of
reality.
it.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying? I want to
okay.
hear you, saying bars to where I go, ooh,
Hmm.
ooh. But that's not what it's about.
Yeah,
I don't even call half of them rappers. I call them rock stars. They like rock
rock
stars.
stars.
They
Yeah,
are rock stars because most of these niggas are very musical. They're singing. It's not just barring out rapping. So it's like, you know what? I think they got something like a little different lane, and I just appreciate him for progressing the music, because I mean, just think about it. When we started, we didn't think we was well, they didn't think we was gonna make it to 50, that where we are now.
Right.
So
50
I
years.
mean, as long as they can keep pushing the line, pushing the envelope, keeping people interested in the music and the genre, I'm
Yeah.
grateful. My only thing that I appreciate right now is it has nothing to do with the music industry. It doesn't have anything to do with fame. It doesn't have to do with anything as far as what your reward or gain is from this. My I love the most out of it right now is I finally got back to the point to where I love doing it again. I
Okay.
love to hear myself in my own headphones.
Okay.
I don't really care if it streams a million times. I just want to make something that I like to play
What
for.
you like?
And then
Right.
once I get enough of those to where I like to play for myself, then
Right.
guess then we'll put it on the streaming platform. Then we'll start giving you music. Matter of fact, I just released July 4th. This is probably the first time I did something in a long time. I got this little group that I do called GMB, short for Grown Man Business. We got a song out called The Realist. So y'all can stream it on all platforms. It's The Realist, and it's by GMB.
The
You'll
realist.
see that, and it's me and this my a buddy of mine, big Jock fan, and he has
Okay.
solo project he's doing called the Jock Fan Experience. So we made like a collective together to where we're gonna put out music as a group, but then
Okay.
I'm also gonna put music out as a Breeze, which is Breeze is just giving you hip hop bars and a lot of features.
Yeah.
And also do have a separate project that I'm doing, and it's called Who's Rodriguez. What I do understand right now is my interest is not to be the best rapper in the world anymore. I don't care
Yeah.
if I don't want to be. What I want to do is I want to make good music. So what I
Okay.
do is just gear this project to like older, more like still rapping, it's still rhyming, but it's just a little different. A little different swag on it, a little older swag, something more geared towards female listeners.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's dope. So that's good. You're still writing.
Yeah.
And describe your creative process when you write new music.
I mean, it differs. I mean, sometimes the beat speaks to you. Sometimes, you sit up here and you get an idea and you say, "Man, this will be dope for me to do." And sometimes you search for that beat until you find something that speaks to you while you have that thought in your head.
Mhm.
But and I kind of like float between both of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes, I'll get something to where I'll get a beat and I'm gonna knock it out right there. Within a couple of hours, we're gonna knock it out from you playing it to me writing it, to us recording it. And then sometimes there's those songs where you kind of want to live with a little bit.
Okay.
To make sure you do justice for the song and make sure you get the message out that you're trying to get out, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Do you have a top five MC list
All time.
all time? Right.
Um, man, that's tough. But for sure I'm gonna put Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas.
There you go.
Um, um,
Big
ooh,
Busy
that's tough.
Nine.
Uh, my favorite, like, I gotta put Rakim in there because he's like he
Yeah.
the game for me,
Yeah.
and ooh, my fifth one, man, that's a toss up because there's a few people I can put in that one. So I don't know. I don't know who I would put in there as number five because there's probably a few people who can fill that spot. But as
Yeah.
far as
Yeah.
who I personally like, Jay-Z, Big, Nas definitely, and yeah, man, and Rakim because he was a definitely
Big
big,
now, Rakim. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a dope top five. That's dope. Remember that video, that song back in the day? It was called "We All in the Same Gang."
Sure.
Did you ever get a call to get on that record?
Actually, I did. And to this day, that's one of my biggest regrets. That I didn't get on the song.
Oh man, what happened? Yeah.
Yeah, man, I kind of had some like I don't want to say bad advice, but kind of like scary advice because I don't know if you know who the guy who put the record together. His name is Mike Conception.
No, I never knew who it was.
Okay, Mike Conception is a very connected brother. Put it that way.
Okay.
And usually when you get a call from him, it's not usually a good call. And uh, so I got a call from him actually, and he asked me, and I heard about him. I really didn't know him, so I was just like, asked some people I was with, yo,
Yeah.
this called me, asked me about this record, and I'm like, it was like, who called? Oh, Mike called you? I don't know. I don't know if you want to mess with that dude. I don't know. Like, yeah, I heard about it. Like, type shit, right? So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, so I kind of slow dragged it, and it's crazy, man. That nigga pulled up on me on Crenshaw, by Lamert Park. I just happened to be going like somewhere, and that nigga, some dude came at me from across the street, said, "Hey man, ain't you Breeze?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Yo, Mike want to speak to you." I'm like, "Mike who?" Mike is, oh shit, he's
He
over.
actually drove up to Crenshaw.
Nah, I don't know. I think he just happened to be in the area, and they just happened.
Okay.
Like, I think it just happened by circumstance. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, when that shit happened, I went over there and I was like, and I kind of agreed to do it. And he was like, "Yeah, here's Dre number. Call Dre. You get down there, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So now at this point, I kind of slow dragged it again a little bit, right? So
Okay.
then King T House, like maybe like 2-3 weeks later,
Mhm.
and then King T plays the freaking song for me, and
Wow.
it wasn't all the way done. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I called Mike back so fast, like, yo, I'm sorry. I'm like,
Told him you sorry, huh?
on the record, man. He was like, yo, I told you, I asked you a million times, blah, 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 blah. And he said, yo, call Dre and see. I said, call Dre. But by that time, it was too late.
It was too late. Wow. The reason why I asked because I could hear your voice all over that record, man.
Uh
You know.
huh.
Did you ever get a chance to meet Pac?
One time, I met Pac once. I met Pac once over at Dr. Dre's house. This was like around the time when Dr. Dre was like doing a Chronic album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like around my ex girlfriend at the time, she happened to be Dr. Dre's assistant. And she ended up taking me over his house one day, and I remember she took me over his house, and I ain't leave for like damn near the whole summer, at least a month. Uh,
Wow.
I stayed at it, and during that time,
That your phone broke up just now. It broke. I couldn't hear nothing you said.
yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. It just got real quiet when you was talking.
Yeah. I'm just saying, everybody used to come over his house at that time, so it's like
Okay.
you run into anybody, Snoop Dogg, Dog Pound, Pac would come through here and there. So I did meet Pac on one occasion while I was over at Dre's house one time.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. And like I said, I know you have traveled a lot, man. During the times you was out there doing music. What has been your best performance of your career so far?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that I could ever say that I had a best performance because I just think a lot of them were, pretty
Was that all
good.
right? Yeah.
No, I mean some were better than others, but I don't know. I mean, I could think like maybe like the most memorable joint that I did as
Let,
I
let's let's talk about that. Memorable then.
yeah, most memorable. I
Yeah.
think I was on. What was I was on tour with Rob Bass. I know Rob Bass. It was me, Rob Bass, and somebody else. I forgot who it was, and we got to perform at the Great Alaska Shootout. It's
Okay.
a huge college basketball tournament that they throw in Anchorage, Alaska.
Wow. Okay.
And that was like, yo, that was the first time I actually got to perform in front of like a stadium,
A
like
stadium. Yeah.
oh, an arena.
Arena. Wow.
And it was like, yo, that was the most memorable one because it's the first time that I did it, and it was like a real experience to see that many people. Because before that, we did clubs, we might did a House of Blues or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Something
Something,
small.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe 1,000 people at best, something like that. But like to see get on stage and look down and see like 12,000 people, I was like, yo, that was like, that's definitely my most memorable.
How was that for you? Like, how did you handle? Did you ever get anxiety seeing all those people? How did you handle that? Because I know that's a lot of people, man. You're looking at.
Well, I mean, it's kind of different, when you like in an arena because people are not that close to you. So it's like, even though they're
Spread
looking,
out. They out a little.
yeah, even though they're looking at, not like you can really see them clearly,
Okay.
so it's not like really, it's not that intimate. So you can kind of, you can kind of just phase off. I know for me, like with anything, even still to this day, I get nervous right before it's time to perform. But um, something that happens to, it's like it clicks once I get out there and you say the first word. I don't care how close the crowd is. It's I don't see you. I really don't see you. I know you're there. You're
But you
just in
don't see him.
shaking, but I don't see you. You're just part of my environment right now that I get to play off of. But I really don't see you. I mean, I've been in a bunch of people were like, "Yo, you didn't see me. I was trying to give you a pound. You ain't give me a pound." Or I was trying. I was calling your name. I was trying to say. I was like, "No, man. I really don't see anyone."
Yeah, yeah. You don't see
I
him.
don't. No, 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 no. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's a fly ass, shorty, and like she doing something crazy. You gonna see that, but for the most part, when you in your zone and you rhyming, I
Yeah, you
really don't
zoning.
nobody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you in your zone.
exactly.
I just want to get into this, man. I really have to, right? Now, Nas came out with "Where Are They Now." Can you tell me how did they connect? How did Nas connect with you to get a verse on that song?
Actually, that was through Bobcat.
Okay, Bobcat.
After um Nas did the record, he actually wanted to get different versions from different regions. So he wanted to get
West
a
Coast, East Coast, yeah, like that. Mhm.
He wanted to get a Where Are They Now from, the South, from Texas. He wanted to do so whoever was hot in those areas, he kind of commissioned somebody from that area who can actually put the whole project together and get people to be
Yeah.
on it. So Bobcat was the one that he linked up with out here. And he said, yo, I'd like to get, Where Are They Now for some of the MCs out there, like, and he let Bob put it together. So it's funny, he got me, and I know Candyman was there, Cam was there. I think
Yeah, Candyman, Cam, you. It was King T wasn't on there, right?
wasn't on that one. I think
Okay.
there was rap on there too. I don't think it was Frost. Was it Mello? I'm not sure, but I know it was a few of us, man, that got on that record. I wasn't there when everybody did their verse. I was like probably like one of the first ones that was on the record because obviously Bob called me and my affiliation with him. He made sure that I played a part in that, and it was pretty much not too long after that. I think that was what 2007,
That was eight.
2008.
2008.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like 2008, it's like from that's when I really kind of just stepped away. That was like the last thing I did. And the only thing that I would do after that is somebody asked me to write them something, I would do. But that was like the last joint. But that's how I got on it. In a short answer, that was commissioned through Bobcat, and he put me on that joint.
Okay, the Bobcat. Wow, I only got a few more. What was you doing the whole time you took a break besides writing for other people?
Oh man, having kids, had a couple kids.
Okay, okay.
Became a father. Matter of fact, my oldest turns 21 in about a week from now, and my youngest turns 16 in about
16.
now. And and God was nice enough, hint hint, to give me two daughters. So
Yeah,
that two things kind of are true. I didn't do a lot of shit right before I had kids, but he was gonna make sure I did right once I got some kids.
that's right. That's right. That's how it go. It's like you grow up once some kids come. You ain't got no choice. You
Exactly.
know?
And we got two girls.
Wow. Yeah. You got to really be a protector, even with your boys. But the girls are a little different. You got to protect them.
Exactly.
There's another MC Breeze, and he was in Philly. I don't know where he live at now. Did you ever meet the other MC Breeze, man? Well, is it MC Breeze and you Breeze? Did you ever meet the other Breeze?
Well, it's funny that you say that. It's because when I first started, like when I was just rapping before the deal, I was MC Breeze. When I was on Def Jam, I was MC Breeze. Um,
Okay.
and then actually, if you really know, his name is Joey B. Ellis.
Yeah,
Or,
Joey B. Ellis.
yeah, or they call him the singing MC,
MC Breeze. Okay.
right? So, um, what I did, and it was also, I don't know if you know, around that time there was another L.A. Posse. They was from Laurelton, Queens, and they
Oh,
the L.A. Posse. So what happened? It was around that time, right? Once we started getting hot. first thing we did is we, did the trademark, copyright, and all that shit on the L.A. Posse name, and we shut
Yeah.
down Posse from Laurelton, Queens, from using it. So we
Okay.
shut it down. So the whole singing MC Breeze thing was, I remember at that point, I kind of got like, I don't know, was I was going through this transformation where I didn't want to be MC no more. I just want to be Breeze.
Okay.
So that's why when people will say MC Breeze, or they'll say LA Breeze, and I would always say, I challenge you to find one piece of literature to where that's stamped by me that you see the name or LA. It's always just been Breeze since you know me. Now, if you knew me before this, then yeah, you would know that it was MC Breeze whenever I rap. But it
Right.
never caused any trouble. But it's funny you said that. I got a partner of mine who's trying to link us together. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he lives in Vegas now. I know he's from Philly, but I think he lives in Vegas. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, we got that out the way with the breezes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The breeze. Can you let everybody know, like, what you have cooking, man? What you got going on now?
Well, I mean, like I said, man, what I'm doing right now is I got 3 music projects. I'm gonna start releasing, like, a bunch of music, um, you know, through this upcoming year. Obviously, I'll be giving a lot of information about upcoming releases on my Instagram, which is OG Breeze underscore
Yeah.
LA. So if anybody wants to reach out, just see what I'm doing. I'm not a big day-to-day person that's going to show you my meal, show you I'm in the gym and doing all of that. But whenever I got something important to say, I'm definitely going to release it on that as well. So I do have 3 music projects that I will be releasing simultaneously as this year goes by. Because I just, well, my whole thing is I just wanted to stockpile my catalog, so I wasn't just doing one thing at a time. I kind
Yeah.
of make sure whenever it is I do something, I got something to follow up with it really quickly. So I'm gonna do that, and then also what we're gonna do is I'm gonna be in production as far as launching a podcast, but not like a normal podcast, not like a question and interview answer type of thing. It's gonna be
Okay.
kind of like a barbershop, but we ain't in the barbershop. We actually
Okay.
high ass
Yeah.
atmosphere, like where if I showed you the view as to where I'm looking at right now, you would
Yeah.
probably know where I am. So it's gonna be and it's gonna be random guests that come through, but always somebody, everybody,
Okay.
type
Still.
thing we're gonna do. So we'll definitely do that, and then also I'm gonna do this little performance series. I'm gonna put together this little performance series called All Shades. And
Okay.
yeah, All Shades, and what that basically is going to do is it's going to encompass, promoting new music, maybe even people who are may have been someone at one time but still hot, maybe not getting that shot, and anybody who's just dope. And it's not really geared towards rap; it's more geared towards a little more um I don't want to say R&B, but just more of a grown up type feel, although there'll probably be some rappers on. I'm going to be the first one on there.
Yeah.
So obviously there's going to be a first one, to rap. But like I said, that project I'm doing is way totally different. When you hear it, you're going to go like, damn, he's got live instruments, he's doing something different, he's rapping and he's singing. It's a little different.
Wow. Well, you,
Yeah.
you got some things going on, man. And just one more thing. How did you feel about the song "L.A. Posse"? Because you got a video for it, it's banging. Were you satisfied with that coming out with that?
um
L.A.
Actually, no. I mean, it's a famous story I'll tell. I'll give you the kind of like the Cliff Note version real quick. But I actually, coming from New York, I wasn't really a fan of like funk music because I wasn't into Parliament, Funkadelic, Bootsy, and all. I wasn't into that. Wasn't the kind of music we played in New York. Our version of funk was James Brown. When you ever talk,
Right.
we played Funky Drummer. We played James Brown, Hank Ballard, and them. So it was a little different. So when we was in the studio making that song, Muff was putting the beat together, and I'm just like listening to the beat, and I'm like, bro, I don't want that. I don't. Can we use something different? Can we sample something different? He was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Dad, all that. I don't want that on my record. He was like,
Mhm.
and then I was really being disruptive to his creative process.
Yeah.
What he did was he said, look, man, do me a favor, man. He said, I want you to leave the studio for a little bit. I said, I ain't going nowhere. I'm a badass kid, basically. I'm like
Yeah.
8, 19 years old, 20 years old.
Mhm.
I'm still a badass kid. So it's like, It's like I was like, I ain't going nowhere. He was like, boom. He reached in his pocket. He pulled out $50. He got
Okay.
bucks. He said, please just leave the studio. Give me 3 hours. Give me 3 hours. He said, come back in 3 hours. If you don't like what I did with this song, once you come back, I'll erase it.
Okay.
Problem. So, I took the $50, went and got a 40 ounce, some blunts, called my homie, went hung out for a little bit. Then all of a sudden, came back to the studio, like maybe 4 or 5 hours later. I was a little late when I rolled up in the studio. I'm like, they all looking at me. I'm like, okay, what you got? And he pressed play. And when it came on, I was just like, I was blown away. I was like, I didn't think that you can transform my mind into liking that from the more bounce to the ounce sample that you're starting this with. I don't think you're gonna capture me. And when he put the whole thing together, I was like, damn, like, and it's crazy. From that moment on, I started listening to Zap, Parliament, Funkadelic, and that's when I got into. That's actually when I got into the funk.
Wow.
That
So
yeah,
that song L.A. Posse, you started liking it after he did his transition to it, right?
sir, yes, sir.
Listen, man, we got the legendary Breeze, man, the L.A. Posse, his crew on A Vision Media Broadcast. I thank you, brother, for coming on to the show, man. It was a pleasure. I had a great time talking to you, man.
And it's my pleasure too, man. Thanks for reaching out, man. It's always a pleasure to speak to someone as insightful. And I don't know where you're getting all your information, but just yeah,
I just had to dig, man, do some homework. That's all.
your sources is nice, man. And just thanks for even providing a platform for fellas like me, and to still have a voice in this game. I definitely appreciate it, and I still think that we have a place. I love what you're doing. Anything that I could do
Thank
to help support, you have my support 100%. I don't know if you have, but if you don't, DM me. Let's stay in touch. This ain't the last. Anything that I got as far as music, I'll make sure I hear it first. Well, one of the first people. I'll make sure you got it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.